Alright, hello everyone, Marcel again, and let's create a multi-alpha brush. So the first thing is we need a plane to be created, and just simply like matcap gray, shift F, this may be a polymesh, and that's good as it is. So we will work on this plane and create our texture now, but this will be our original. Okay, so I'll just rename it to original. And we need another piece of this, so Ctrl Shift D and V and move it in the backdrop. I will tell why we have to have that, so just increase it, Ctrl W to have a different group, and that will be a Shift left and rename, and that would be backdrop. This is about, so when you have this little red dot that you see at the cursor for the brush, it can sense the polygons, and it's basically, if there is nothing behind it, ZBrush will give you the information that it's like empty, so there's nothing to work with. But if you have an already underlying plane, even if you're not sculpting that plane, the brush can sense it, and it works a bit differently, especially when used in drag mode. So right now, if you are so let me open up a drag rect and open up the alpha. This is import, and I will use a DEM file. This is coming from the Yakuza Japanese store. So these are DEM files. So if you type in DEM file, it will you will get these grayscale pictures. There are satellite websites that can show these. So the acronym is going for digital elevation model. Now this is a large area, and because of it's a large area, it contains a lot of interesting details. So as you see, we have the peaks here, we have some valleys, probably rivers, we have some flatbeds, slopes with not so crazy elevation, and also multi-peaks. So this is like a closed area. This is the highest point probably of the entire scene. And we have like more calm pieces. Now from this single model, I can create multiple patterns, and that could be used for environmental detailing or adding like realistic looking stuff. When you're blending these together, the scale is interestingly, the scale is not showing up all the time. You can really add some nice ground structure with it, and on top of it you can use detailing pictures that are showing the graininess, the stones, the pavement, and other things. So it's like the kind of a first rough workout after you have sculpted the basic parts. Okay, so let me just open this up, and this comes in here, Shift F, and this is the original one. Now the way I will do it, so before I start using it, I will subdivide this, Ctrl D a couple of times, until we get no, smoothing should be turned off, excuse me. So geometry and smoothing turned off, and divide, and 1 million. I will add one more. That's quite a lot. I'm not necessarily need these, I will talk about this, but just for now. And there's one more thing I like to use and do is layers. When because layers has this intensity slider, and when you're done with the recording, you can change intensity. So if a slope is not intense enough, it's not interesting enough, you can do that. Okay, so that's what we're looking for right now. Let me zoom out. And this is a setup. This is still just a setup, and this is original. Now, if you start sculpting on this, you have to do this: create a plane, subdivide, etc., creating layers all the time. So don't do that. Just duplicate it right away, and that will be our sculpt. So if you save this file for yourself, yeah. So sculpt T is missing. So if you save this file, it will include the original, the sculpt layer, and it's already in record mode. So you don't have to layer, it's already in record mode. So you don't have to do anything crazy. I'll press Ctrl W just to make sure that the colors are different as well. So turning off polyframe, Shift F, and if you just start dragging, this is how it looks. So you can start only from the inside. If you don't have this backdrop, you can start only from the inside, and you cannot really like wander around. But if you have this backdrop, you can start from here and choose and move around and see for yourself if you find a pattern that's interesting. So I will start with these. Yeah, these are like little water eroded areas. It's not intense, but it's very, very valuable. So I'll do that and stop the recording and add a little bit, not 0, like 2 times. So I'll add that 2 times, maybe more, 3 times, how that looks. Okay, that's good, but it's not necessarily, do we need 3? I will go with 2. That's fair enough. Okay, so that's one thing. That's the first thing to create. Now, we'll create a new brush from it, and but before we do that, I will just show you the technique. So right now, let us create a new brush and go through the process, and then we'll create another texture. Okay, so here we are. Just to repeat, brush, we are cloning it, and now this is standard 1. And then the sculpt brush, this has quite a lot of poly count, so we don't want to have this 4 million. If you use it as 4 million, it will give you better results, of course, more details if you need it. But if you want to just use a quick collection of brushes that are great for like sending out the basic details, basic volumes, it's not really beneficial. This brush can go huge and crazy. Now, one way to reduce this size is to decimate this before we are creating the brush from it. So Z plugin, drop it down, decimation muster, and preprocess current, which will take some time. Abate all layers, yes, if you will ask. Okay, we don't have to go there. It's the button is already showing up, which was awesome. So once it's ready, we can go with a decimation of like 2%. It's not really crazy. It's really low. Cancel decimation. So decimate current and Shift F to see the wires. And as you see, because of the overall, it's not really. Be careful. This one is not a problem. It's coming from the overlap. Decimation, eating it. Oh yeah, it's funny. Okay, but it will the alpha around. It will cut it off, so it won't be that big of an issue. But it's there. Okay, so now this is a standard 1 brush. We can create it with brush, and here it is. This from mesh, append mesh to brush. So when we click that, it will just create this. So now we have this very smooth transition, and as you see, it's because it's like 0, close to 0, it won't be an issue in here, but we have this created. Okay, so, and the resolution is fairly low. Okay, now let us repeat the process. So I'm going to original, duplicate the original, rename it. So this is named as sculpt. So when we have multiple alphas, this will be the first that's called sculpt. Now this will be different. So let me just have it there. I will turn this off, and going back to BST, that holds the original, and I will drag this out, and now this will be peaks. Okay, so this was the basic sculpt. It was named like that, but if you add a name, it will be saved into the brush. Okay, so here we are, peaks. Name it to peaks. There we go. And Shift F, of course, we want to decimate. So pre-process, it will ask bake all layers. Okay, so once we have it, we can decimate current on 2%, and this is like 80. So it's showing that. Okay, it's good. Here we are. Intensity is fair enough. If we need or wish, we can still go in here, zoom, fit it in the middle, and like scale it. So if we need intensity, it's similar to what we are using with layers, but of course you can mask areas and increase that way, blur the mask, but you have no resolution. So in that case, you still want to make this scaling when you have these subdivision levels. Okay, so that will be peaks. And when I'm going back to the brush, so the brush I have cloned is in here in the inventory. So this is the standard 01. And it has a number Q, and it has a number that shows it's a one-parter brush. So at the moment, it only has a single part. But once we have this loaded, we can go in here to brush and from mesh. And now we have the sculpt, the first layer, and we have the peaks. So now we have these two, okay? So it's like already two pieces. Now, this, the more you have, the more file size you have, but you can have like 20 of these. Now, we have these two, it was 4 million, but right now, peaks is like 83. The sculpt is also 83, I guess. Yeah, exactly the same. Exactly the same. Because it was the original and the poly count was set to the same decimation percent. So that was 2%. So 83,000. It's decent, but it's not like crazy things. And you don't see the 3D logo in here because it's like not a standard plane that was displaced with the texture. It is decimated, so this is why it's not as high in quality. But again, you can collect a lot and it can speed up your drafting workflow with things around. Okay, so here we are. And let us save this brush, but right now with a custom icon. So if you go to brush and alt clicking on select icon, you can have the, I will use this mountain icon, for example. It's not perfect because it's like not allowing to show the number, which one could be important if you have like similar icons and the only difference is like this number, but that's it. And I will name it like mountain base or something. So we go brush and save as, and mountain base. Okay, so that would be mountain base multi alpha and ZB22 in this here. And not every information is visible, so mountain base is there, but when you want to have more information, that's how it goes. So here you have brush, and so once you have it loaded, okay, yeah, okay, there we go. So now that's basically it, and we can choose these. So if we are, for example, starting with this plane 3D, Shift F, or plane 3D, this was already Shift F. Oh, these both of them. Okay, make polymesh, Control D, subdivide, Control V, and 4 million. Okay, so BCB having a simple perspective. So right now I'm just building up a bit of a rough terrain. Z intensity and size, and let me just go back, and I'll use the BMV brush just to like lift up areas. Okay, and just pulling in. Okay, BCB. even lower. So now we have a bit of a area, a pit. So that goes in. Here there's also a little bit of a pit. And just adding, so probably that is we have like a path, there's like a cave and somewhere, and adding to it. So right now it's not that big, so it's like a person can stand in here. Okay, just see the rough. I will use a mallet brush to break up the surface a little bit. So, where are you? Brushes, brush, and mallet, and mallet fast, and intensity really small. So just and adding a lot more randomness to it. Very lightweight. Very lightweight. It's intense. It's breaking up the surface. Okay, so now we have that. A little pattern. Okay, and then we can use our brush and just drag out what we need with a Z intensity a little bit higher. So drag and pull and add this in here on top of it. Probably, yeah, that's it. So, and this was the sculpt and this was the peaks. That's different. I will just go and invert, and that is also sounding like muddy areas, like a mud pit. That could be working. I will change the intensity and add a focus shift, so a little bit of the center is pulled. Now it was just too much low. So then we can add those. And now it's matcap gray, but if you set it to skin shade 4, you will see the overall impression. Okay. And then you can use soil texture on top of it, and smaller details here and there. BNO noise brush, and it's going on here, adding some noises if needed. Okay, and smoothing the valleys can work as well. Smoothing peaks. And that's basically the process. Now let me show you something that's goes matcap green. That resembles a little bit closer to like what we can achieve with wet. Yeah, this one. It looks a bit more like the dirt area. Okay, so this is a quick, simple, rough way to build up terrains and adding details to it, creating brushes. Multi alpha can work fairly well. Now a quick and dirty way, and you will see how it goes for you. Have fun with your projects. See you next time. Goodbye.